I've got all my sisters with me.
What's good, everybody? This is Fern, aka Athena Oraya, author of Before 7:30, Practical Ways to Empower Yourself and Save Your Relationship Before Giving Up. Is it a coincidence that you happen to be listening to me right now? Absolutely not. So much love to you. So this is the plan. We're going to do a little bit of healing work together. Don't run. It's not going to be so bad. So in this video, I'm going to have a conversation with all of my sisters out there who need a little bit of healing, because we like to keep it real up in here. Life is not all about the beautiful butterflies and roses for some of us. And I'll talk to the men in the next video. But everyone should watch both videos, because we can't have these conversations with just one party listening to the issues. In order for us to grow as individuals and mature as a couple, we have to study and pay attention to the issues that we're both facing so that we can help each other heal and grow. Before I go any further, thank you to my new and old subscribers and those of you who have shared my videos. Remember to subscribe if this is your first time on my channel, and hit the bell to get notified of my new uploads.
So let's have a little chat, ladies.
This video was inspired by the voice of a good older friend of mine. While I was listening to her talk, there was something about the sound of her voice that pained my heart. It was crazy because I understood something that she was communicating to me without her saying it. I simply picked it up from the sound of her voice. Listen, a woman who's been through some things will always understand the voice of another woman who is going through some things, okay? Those of you who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. So I knew that she didn't sound like that because of anything new. That pain that I heard was older than probably many of you who are listening to this video right now. But her voice couldn't hide her pain from me. If you're a good listener and observer, you'll understand what I mean. Because of my experiences, a lot of which I talked about in my book, I knew that she never learned how to release her hurt and pain, just like so many other women who do the same. Not because we mean to, but because no one taught us when we were growing up what to do about some of these issues. Some of us were probably brought up in a home where our father or stepfather was verbally, emotionally, and even physically abusive. Or that our mother was too docile, so she hid her own pain and struggles. And you witnessed all of that growing up, and now as an adult, you never learned how to break the cycle. This is a fact today. Many of us are now hurting and suffering in our relationships just like our mother. Our heart is quietly bleeding and losing its strength just like our mother. Many of us are badly damaged even though we don't look like it. The flawless makeup, expensive lifestyle, college degrees, and high positions can't erase any of those unhealthy feelings that are eating us up inside. That's why they say don't just go by what you see on the outside. Because you can see a woman who seems like she's on her A game and she is slowly dying inside. We have to be honest with ourselves and admit that many of us have a lot of work to do. Some of us are 30, 40, 50 years old, but we still need to deal with issues from when we were 7 years old. And it's okay if it takes some of us longer to claim our power, but as long as we start. I know about this because I've had to go through my own, what some would call shadow work. And I've been learning that it's a lifelong process. I know that shadow work, those words have been thrown around quite a lot. And it's something that's necessary for all of us to deal with some of the darker issues, some of the emotions, some of the thoughts, and those are all things that we all experience. And it's not an overnight work, because there are always new things that we discover about ourselves as we experience new things in life. In this short time that I've been here on this planet, I've learned that there are some men who will drain you of your power, your energy, and your spirit if you allow them to take it. So that's why it's important that you get to know yourself and be able to stand on your own to assess your life and your experiences. Understand that you can't live someone else's life, and you can't please everyone else while leaving yourself with nothing. That's all part of growing up, maturing, and being wiser than you were 3 years ago. I mean, of course, I'm very well aware that both men and women can be toxic and damaged spirits. Relationships, as we know, can be very difficult because both men and women come into these relationships with so much baggage. But I'm going to be honest for a minute. I used to think of how some men mistreated women and never the other way around. But within the last 20 years, as I got older and more informed, I realized that it goes both ways. But the truth is that in my early teens, I only saw the men acting like they didn't deserve to have a woman in their lives. They were not caring enough about the mental and emotional state of their wives or girlfriends. They didn't know how to love and talk to their women. And I'm talking about some great women who were kind, loving, and some were even the mother of their children. These women were not about drama. They were actually very cooperative and supportive. But being with these types of men, it was like they either were never taught, they forgot, or were just completely misaligned with their power as grown women. And I was observing this in my early teens. But what do I see today? This part right here might be a little bit controversial, but it's my perspective. There are some women who don't really give a damn. They're by getting theirs, or whatever that is, which pleases them, whether it's getting their money, getting their mansion, getting with that guy who has money and who gives them whatever they want or need. They're just looking out only for themselves. Everybody else better get out their way or you getting crushed. And you know, there was a time when I would harshly judge these women. Now, I'm not saying that I'm pushing a careless and manipulative lifestyle into your psyche, but I'm old and realistic enough that I understand these women work with a different type of energy. That energy is not for every woman, just like it's not for every man. Just because it's not my energy doesn't mean that I shouldn't acknowledge that it exists. As long as the men know what they're getting into when they're with these women, then everybody's grown and can make their own choices. However, if these women are doing that just to harbor old wounds, such as not healing from a bad relationship with an ex or childhood abuse or trauma, in that case, I would say that's not healthy because that's not what these women really want to do. And to those women, I say, don't be an imposter who act like you're about that life when you're screaming for help on the inside. You can't hide behind this facade that you're hard, emotionless, careless, and ruthless when that's just a plea for help. I'm saying this because I'm starting to understand that not all women are going to be walking around here all motherly. I know that's not what most people want to see, but it just isn't going to happen. Some women are not here for that. I'm not here to judge the next woman who is having her own experiences as long as it's not a cry for help. I can't juxtapose my life and my way of being with another woman's life. I don't have to agree with all of them, but I also didn't create all of these experiences either. Some women came to this planet with a different agenda, and it just is what it is. All I can say to these women is just be honest with yourselves and pay attention to what you are doing with your life. Because if you're unhappy with your choices, then it means that you should pivot to something that makes you happier. Now, having said all of that, let's face some uncomfortable truths together. Let's heal together. Let's talk about some things and see how we can bring more harmony and love into our hearts and into our relationships. As much as I love my male friends and I have unconditional love for all of my sons, yes, I only have boys, I will always have my sisters back if they're in the right. Like I said, you have to be doing right. And we're all grown here, so you know when you're doing wrong. I mean, honestly, I can't support you. As much as I love you, my beautiful sisters, I cannot support you if you're only about drama. And some of you are truly only about that. I'm talking about the things that you say and do. I'm talking about you expecting special treatment from a man, but you're not doing much for that man who loves and supports you. I'm talking about your man is sweet, respectful, hardworking, gives you what you want, and he's always there for you. You call, he answers. Yet instead of appreciating that man who is handling his business like the grown man that he is, all you do is complain. But then you want to go off when he wants to move on. Every woman would be so happy to have a man who always handles his business like a grown man. So when you have that at home, why not cherish it? Don't use him. Don't abuse him. Don't exploit him to the point that when he decides to move on, the next woman he's with will have to pay for your abuse. That's what usually ends up happening, you know? Some guys start out so nice and loving, and then they'll meet a woman who's like poison, a nightmare, and he's never the same. I know some of you listening to this know what I'm talking about, because every experience that we have changes us. Now, you can't be out there just stepping on men without regard to how it'll come back to you or the next woman. And that's what a lot of you do. But the truth is that you've been hurt so badly. You don't know what it means to love anymore. And trust me, I know that feeling. All you do is use people for your own selfish gains. You're like a bag of hurting people, especially men, without a second thought, and in the process end up mostly hurting yourself. You don't know how else to show that you've been hurt other than to act out. You are overly controlling, obsessive, and possessive. This is an uncomfortable conversation. And like I said, these are uncomfortable truths. As much as I would love to support all of my sisters in every endeavor and everything that you do, I just can't back you if that's how you act. Now, it might sound like I'm delusional because some of you have had some unpleasant experiences with men. I'm not excluded from such experiences. And some of you think all men are bad, that there are no good men out there. You know the rhetoric and the convos during those girl talks. But I don't always want the dialogue to be how terrible men are when we have to work on our own issues, and sometimes our bag is too heavy. It's not always the men. Sometimes it's us that need to get it together. We need to recognize our strengths and power. We need to understand what it is that we bring to the table so that when your man talks to you, you already know how he should talk to you. You already know that you don't deserve that kind of disrespect that he's bringing to you because you've taken the time to work on yourself. And you're also willing to expand your understanding of how to make your relationship work for you. I'm only saying these things because I know that there are some incredible men out there who deserve better than a tight rope around their neck. I have sons, okay? And I wouldn't want any of that coming to my sons' houses when my boys are old enough to date. Like I told my eldest son, he's going to be 16 in a few months. Don't even call me if you mistreat your girlfriend or your wife. And I mean that, especially if she's a sweetheart. And he knows that I'm serious too. That's how I know that on the wonderful men that I know, there are others out there because mothers are making sure that our sons know how to act. So when you meet these awesome guys, my sisters, ladies, don't take them for granted. Be ready to create a life of harmony and be a power couple instead of making your house be like a wrestling arena. Who wants that? I mean, I know some of you are used to that type of environment, but trust me, that is not healthy. Unless you guys want to end up dead. I'll be the first to admit that many women are crying, but the men don't even recognize the tears. And that's because we're off. We're off tune. No one should have to tell a woman about her power as a woman. If you didn't know how powerful you are, well, listen to my voice right now. You are a powerful woman. And don't let anyone fool you. Don't let anyone get into your head and make you think anything less. So we are nurturers. We are warriors. We are lovers. We are the earth, the air, the water, and the fire. Whether or not you understand what that means, you are that awesome. I know that when a woman is happy, she can light up a whole room. And in the same token, when she's suffering, everything around her will decay as well. Everything around her will be affected. This is why I would recommend you watch this or share this with your boo or your husband, because as much as you can be nurturing, loving, kind, supportive, motherly, feminine, and all of that, at other times you have to be tougher, and he needs to understand that about you. Sometimes you have to turn it up. You have to be fluid like the water. Like I said before, life is not all about all smiles. Life is not all about, hey, take all that I have. Sometimes, you have to use that tougher energy, right? So that you can stand your ground. And that's why I'm saying that you can be all of those things. You got to know when to put on your warrior shoes as well when necessary. Some guys are intimidated by that because they were only taught about the soft side of a woman. Some women have more of that softer side than others. And that's something for guys to understand as well about women. We're not all the same. We all can be sweet and loving, but we all show it in different ways. Some women are more affected by their environment than others. Meaning that if they're not treated right, they can't, it's not that easy for them to show you love. Work on your issues. Don't be so quick to judge and vilify all men when you have your own list of problems to clean up. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The only way that we can have a successful relationship is if we listen to each other, respect each other, agree to disagree, support each other, love each other, and grow together. So let's start the healing process. Let's get to know us. Let's get to know the trigger points. Let's get to know the different things that are holding us back. Let's get to know the different aspects, the different parts of ourselves that are holding us back.
Here is a list of some more specific things that you must do. They're not in any particular order, but I will say that the first two are top priority. Love yourself unconditionally and know that we all have flaws. Be transparent, honest with yourself, and accept that you need to heal. Stop complaining about every little thing because that won't get you anywhere any faster. Acknowledge your past mistakes and use them as a guide to learn and do better. Forgive yourself for hurting anyone, whether it was intentional or unintentional. Study how people handle themselves so that you don't continue to fall into their narcissistic and manipulative traps. Support those who need a hand just like you did at one time. Only entertain those people or ideas that nourish your soul. Pay more attention to yourself, your actions, and your words. Learn as much as you can and do not let your ego get in the way of you improving. You won't graduate overnight, and that's okay, but you'll feel so much better once you start to take your healing seriously.
It's a lifelong journey because you, as a person, you're never the same. You are never the same person, which is what makes this a lifelong work, a lifelong process. That's the reality of it. But the most important thing is to recognize that you need to work on some of your issues. Buy some books if you have to. Spend time with the people who are going to help you grow. The people who are going to keep it real with you and not enable you in your bad behaviors, your terrible or horrible attitude. All those are part of the healing. And the healing, again, is real work. But we can do it. You can do it. But just be honest with yourself. Be honest with your issues. Because guess what? We all have them. We all can use a little bit of healing. At the end of the day, the most important part is to understand that we need to do the work. We need to do it. That's the only way we're going to be better individuals. That's the only way that our relationships will be better. Thank you for watching. Again, subscribe, like, and share so that more people can benefit from these videos. Don't forget to give me some feedback in the comments. Check out my website, before730.com. That's before730.com for all of my products. My book can help you deal with some of these issues that I talked about in this video. So order your copy if you haven't done so already, or give someone a copy, which I'm sure they'll appreciate. So let's help each other heal. Let's help each other get stronger. Watch out for the second part of this video where I talk to the guys. And that should be exciting. Until the next video, happy living.